Warrior, I just got off an airplane recently and I was thinking about something the whole flight, and I want to share it with you because I think it's something we forget about quite often. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel because when I see, I don't know, 75, 78% of you watching these videos don't subscribe, come on, it's free. Help us out at the Warriors. We want to get onto that super highway. The algorithms we're always fighting, and we want this information to get out to you. The website is linswarriors.org. Everything's Lins Warriors because I want you to join us at the Warriors. Become a warrior in your own home and community. That's where it starts. So despite our talk about state capitals in Washington, D.C., it starts in the home. And that got me thinking, there is no better way to deal with all of this big tech that we talk about a lot on the Warriors than good parenting. Now, I used to say, I don't want to judge parents. There's something called parental autonomy. But you know what? It's time we start really talking about it, standing up. And the only way to really get ahead of all this tech and all the changes and all the horrors and all the predators is to understand what's going on. So yes, legislation is good. For instance, we're working feverishly on Kids Online Safety Act, Senate Version 1748, with a duty of care, holding big tech accountable. Seems very reasonable for harms caused to children, right? So much fight over this. But let's get back to parenting. I'm not a parenting expert. I don't have degrees in psychology and psychiatry and all that. I just know that parenting, I think, is the toughest job in the world. I've had people say to me, it's all about the parents. No, it's not, because I've known great parents who have a lot of trouble with their kids, and I've known horrible parents that have great kids. So let's not blame it on the parents, but let's, in 2026, empower, encourage, engage, and understand what's going on. You as the parent, caregiver, whatever your family dynamic, because here, I'm based in New York City, we have a lot of grandparents raising kids, a lot of older siblings raising kids. The family today, primarily, is mom and dad, a lot of single parent households. It's just the way it is, right? So let's talk about it. You're at the forefront. You are that warrior between the child and big tech. So look, we are tech friendly. We love tech. We like ethical tech that makes us smarter, tech that helps us engage. We're talking to each other right now. You could be across the world listening to this, watching this. And that's what we want to teach. And we know there's ethical tech because we at the Warriors work with a lot of ethical tech people. And there are ways to root out these predators. There is technology, software, to get at them in other countries. Things are being worked on. But in the meantime, we can't sit around and wait. We have to be the one at the forefront, staving off these predators. Because right now the predators are winning. That is the bottom line. I don't like telling you that, but that's just what's happening. So you have to know, first of all, this is all going on. Number one. Number two, you have to talk to your child. I say it all the time, broken record. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is understand that these apps, games, platforms are popping up faster than we can keep up with them. May I recommend to you? I got to talk about it. One of the most popular is Roblox. That people think this is great. My kid is engaging. My child is learning and building and coding and gaming. And because I ask every parent, is your child on Roblox? I think every parent has always said to me, yes. I'm like, do you know what that's about? I don't know. They're building. They're quiet. They're games. Roblox is one of the biggest, used by, I think it's up to, remember, stats are always wrong because what we know about the numbers are always higher. Things hide right in plain sight. I think at last count it was something like 158 million daily users. And rule of thumb is wherever the kids are, so are the predators, right? And because online we've made it so easy, it's not the dark corners anymore of the supermarket or the Walmart or the parking lots. Yes, it does occur, but it's right online, right in your living room, right in the bedrooms. Remember, keep devices out of the bedrooms. I know it sounds maybe not great because you think of your child, especially a teen, is in their bedroom and they're quiet with the door closed, everything's okay. The worst, because that is where idle minds, they're swiping, they're going on to the next, they're reading things, they're being engaged. Someone might say, what are you doing? Oh, I'm online in my bedroom. Boom, predator moves in. How fast is this happening? We know cases of kids considered great kids, right? Good households. I'll use as an example. Within 3 hours, were no longer with us. Now, we have algorithms here, so I think you can figure out what I'm talking about. Read between the lines. Because the sextortion, the predator, moved in so fast, got that child so discombobulated, to use that word, so in fear, so embarrassed that something they did, for instance, exchanging a nude image, sexual dialogue, would get them in trouble. That they would rather not be with us anymore. That is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, right? We have to tell our children we all make mistakes. Think back when you were a teen. We've all engaged in different behaviors, right? Kids do stupid things, right? We know their brains aren't fully developed, and that mob rule makes kids do things they otherwise alone would not do, or they know. I've had so many kids say to me, I knew it was wrong, I did it anyway. Okay. How we deal with that as the adults, as the parents, as the grandparents. Okay, we're going to take care of this. You do not erase images. You don't yell at children. You calmly sit and talk. I know it's tough, right? My work is telling me that this is what we have to do. We also have lots of studies and things like that, but forget the studies. This is about emotion now. You have to keep those images and you have to report them 911, 1-800-CALL FBI. You need a paper trail, so to speak. Erasing the images does nothing. We also have to tell our kids, don't engage. If a child would simply not engage, for instance, I talk about the Kids Online Safety Act, Senate version 1748, and I know the bots come after me from Meta. I know it. Because it's these profiles that have 0 followers, and it's like a cartoon image, right, for the thumbnail. And always when I mention Kids Online Safety Act, and they're all attacking me, oh, they're telling me horrible things to do to myself. And they do this to the kids. The thing I do is I don't engage, and they go away after a while. We have to tell our kids nothing will happen. You don't answer them. You simply block them, and you tell an adult. If so many kids just did that and knew that, like, we're going to block them, and we're going to tell a trusted adult, whether it's a parent, an older sibling, an aunt and uncle, a trusted adult, and know that they won't get in trouble because they engaged in this kind of, craziness, we could save so many lives. I'm thinking of a particular case right now. Go back and watch my interview with Brian Montgomery right here on the Warriors channel about his son Walker. That's all I'm going to say. I want you to go back and I want you to watch that and listen to that, because we talk about all the time trafficking, exploitation. It's always vulnerable kids and vulnerable families and all that. Mark my words, and then come back here and tell me about it. Listen to Brian Montgomery, that I recently had the pleasure of being with in Florida, a meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, to hear our stories, to hear what parents, we call them survivor parents, are going through. Let's give praise where praise is due, and how we're going to figure out all this ethical tech when we're sitting in a tech world. Think about your life every day. It's a lot of apps. It's a lot of online. School's online, jobs online, it's all part of it. Text messaging, phones, buying your groceries, Amazon, this, that, the other. Yes, we can start pulling away, and we should. It's not going away. But if we pull away 15 minutes a day, right? Did you ever forget your phone? I've done it a few times recently. I don't know why. I've walked out of the house without the phone. You feel this kind of weird feeling, right? This like panic kind of thing. And then you realize, I'm just going to the CVS on the corner. I think I can survive 15 minutes, right? But you get that feeling. Can you imagine kids who have grown up in this digital bubble? They've never been without a phone, at least at my age. I don't know how old everybody is listening to this. We did live without phones, so we can kind of relate back to that and understand nothing will happen to us. But kids, I like to say 30 and under, have grown up in the digital bubble. Not their fault, thrust upon everybody, and complete panic sets in. So let's start getting them off the devices 15 minutes a day and then work it back. There is something, let's get back to the parents, called parental autonomy. I don't like to judge parents. We live in a very overwhelming, I dare say, a lot of violence. Kids are seeing everything because of online in their faces. There's no more shielding. In my day, it was, turn off the Walter Cronkite news, the 6:30, 7 o'clock news. I think I go back when I was little, news used to be 7 o'clock at night. And that's what parents and adults, waited for. But I can remember, put the newspaper away, not to see headlines, or turn that off. It's pretty much Vietnam War, I recall, as a child. I always wanted to watch those things, and even at a young age, understand about them, ask a lot of questions, and I did. So we want our kids to engage like that. So we want to be able to use all this tech, get back to ethical tech, in an engaging, smart way, as much as we can. And it starts with, there are going to be predators, there's going to be bad stuff. We've got to learn how to deal with it. So again, it starts with talking to your kids. It starts with facing the reality. It starts with knowing who they're online with. A 10-year-old, if you choose what kid really needs to be online, wait until 8th. Delay is the way until they're a bit older. It's your choice. Understand the risks and understand, if you bought the device, you have a parental duty. Talk about duty of care. If you bought that and you pay for the internet, to explain to your child what's going on, or to limit, based on their age, what they can see. Who can they interact with? Family? Friends? Time amounts. When we have kids spending 9 hours a day online, come on now, there's something wrong with that. You know it and I know it. Start reducing that. There is tremendous hope. And that is, we have a lot of people listening. We have a lot of engaged parents now that things have happened to their kids, and they don't want that to happen to any other kids or parents or families in the United States. And that is when we went to Mar-a-Lago. We were graciously invited to share stories, thoughts, what needs to be done, and how we're really going to interact in this tech world. How we're going to deal with the schools in tech, the phones at home. Get them out of the bedrooms. I told you that earlier. Devices don't belong there. Kids will survive overnight. We lead by example, though, right? We can't be on the phone all the time, and the children are seeing that, right? We have to take these steps. I'm urging you, be a warrior. Community creates change is our hashtag. Right now, as I'm telling you this, we have parents contacting me from the trial out in LA. This is week 6 of the big tech on trial, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, that they knowingly put out a product that caused harms to children. This is a groundbreaking case, so we have to see what's going to happen. Whether we hear something today, tomorrow, deliberations are going on. So we anxiously await that. I've got boots on the ground there, parents who've lost their children, reporting, texting me, putting their hearts and souls and monies and traveling the country and going in front of Congress and going whatever state they're from, in front of their legislators and coming to Mar-a-Lago with me to share bravely their stories. That is not my story. I can talk about it all I want. But I have not lost a child. I have not had these experiences. We need this to resonate, and they bravely come forward to do that. As I like to say, I like to start at the top. I don't even want to say work down. I just want to start at the top, stay at the top, and get the work done. And that's what we do at the Warriors. It's been a trying week. I say that because I've been on the road, losing my voice a little bit. That's what happens when you talk a lot. You're behind the scenes working on a lot of stuff, but it's okay. This trial right now in LA Superior Court, knowingly, they put out a product. We know from whistleblowers. We know from internal memos. Of course, I could have written the playbook when Meta was on the stand. They tried to say it's a parent's fault. It's always the parent's fault. Meta brazenly also introduced last week WhatsApp for kids. Why are they doing this in the middle of a trial like this where they stand to lose billions and trillions of dollars? Right now, there are thousands of lawsuits across the country with big tech. We understand we don't want to have, these age verification laws and all this stuff. We want big tech to say, look, we know harms are caused. Actually, they know it from these internal memos that are brought forth, and also the whistleblowers who've come forth to share information, right? We know from doctors and what they say about the brains of children and the harms, and whether it's cyberbullying, sextortion, eating disorders, and yes, the big one, kids who are no longer here. Again, algorithms, I'm not saying the word. 2026, we live in a world where we have to talk about it. Kids are seeing and hearing everything anyway. You be the leader. You be the mentor. We await this trial to see where this goes. Interestingly enough, big tech, if they would just say, we understand things happen, we're going to work with everybody. I believe, and I told our President of the United States, we can work on all of this and make it happen. I truly believe, I manifest that tech is here to stay. There's a lot of great tech. There's some great AI. How are we going to make it work to keep our kids safe and not burden? Why is the burden always on the parents? Yet, as parents and caregivers, we must step up and be aware and do a better job of understanding this is happening. It's not going away. We got to safeguard our kids because things happen every day that I'm notified about, different cases. I can't even believe these things are occurring because anybody who's sane can't imagine these things are done to kids or profited, And when we also, I'm throwing a lot at you, I know, but I've been a little bit missing in action due to work. When you have people, these elitist types, these Epsteins, and Diddy's, and Weinsteins, and just everybody with the money, the power, and that's what the public sees, and they get away with it for so long, right? And all their accomplices, and all the people complicit. It beats you down. You say, why should I open my mouth? Why should I say anything? Why should I fight back? So you know what? If you choose to do that, that's fine. Let's start with our kids, our future American adults and leaders. They need us. I'm begging you. Keep an eye on everything we do. Please share videos. Please go back. I like to give a little homework, as I call it, on the Warriors. Please watch my discussion with Brian Montgomery, dad of Walker Montgomery. Please share facts, not fears. Please, let's talk about it. Please, let us come together. It's interesting because people always ask me, I'll leave you with this, why I started the Warriors. I haven't been trafficked. Great childhood, great schools, great family, great husband. I've been lucky in life. When I now realize all of the predation and some horrible, home lives of kids and things like that. But I found it unacceptable when I started this 6 years ago, working with a client writing a book about domestic violence, which intersects with human trafficking. They go hand in hand, by the way, okay? Not separately, hand in hand. I'm like, in America, this is unacceptable. And I just kept researching for domestic violence, again, touched upon human trafficking, working in the music business and all that in the past. It was always showbiz about other countries and trafficking and water and the girls in other countries. What about right here in America? America first. I proudly sit before you with the flag behind me and will go to my grave fighting for kids and families now. That is my calling now. That is my duty. And I want to help everybody. And if the first step is awareness, that is great. A lot of awareness going around, People are waking up. But the next step is the prevention, intervention. We can't allow this to go on. I leave you with this. We do have an administration right now. Like him, don't like him, the president. He cares. We're going to try to work all of this out. But it has to start with you as well, as a parent, as a guardian. You have to be on top of things. There's nothing better than a parental involvement. No piece of legislation is ever going to replace that. We have to carve out the time, no matter how tired, how burdened, how worried we are for our kids. And we have to do it because this is America and that's what we do. So please follow us, linswarriors.org. Stay tuned. I want to go find out about this trial right now. This is what they call a bellwether trial. A lot's at stake. We also have a case going on in New Mexico. We also have a case in Washington State. But understand, the predators are on every app. I talked about Roblox. There's Discord, a messaging app. And they have taglines like, meet your friends, meet new friends. Your kids don't need any new friends, right? They need the friends they have or family. That's what they need, okay? Not strangers from across, Nigeria or something that are going to sextort them or do something or encourage them to harm themselves or other kids, like that horrific group 764, because there's other groups like that out there. Be on top of it. Be aware. each and every day, go out and be a warrior.